I do think the company is in that transition from wanting to be a hardware company to being a software and services company. But the fact does remain that they are a hardware company, and people are going to remain laser focused on the units that they sell, regardless really of what the company wants to release publicly. However, we haven't seen a fundamental shift in the type of phone people want to use in Apple's market share. Typically, when technology companies and particularly hardware companies fall, they fall because somebody else makes a better product, right? If you look at BlackBerry and Nokia, they had massive market share that eventually got eaten away by the iPhone. So until we see a fundamental shift in the way people use technology, longer refresh cycles on iPhone don't scare us for the long run.
Longer refresh cycles, yeah. Because just as a user, I'm fine with the one I have. I don't want any of the new features, but my battery's starting I'm below 90 now. It's working, and I've noticed it's
your battery health.
My battery health is not great. My battery health is not great. So I mean, that would prompt me to say, hey, I need a new one. But
what model are you on there? You're in the 6,
iPhone
7.
iPhone.
You're in the iPhone model?
Made by Apple. I think it's an 8. I think it might be an 8. I think it might be.
I would say after a year or two, I'm usually down to about 90 or 75 to 85 on the.
So there will always be a refresh cycle, but yes. Tim, you point out it could be a longer refresh cycle. Do you think do you think it's a coincidence that they stopped with the unit sales, and here we are a month later, and it's like we're talking about whether there's a problem with unit sales?
I think the timing is probably a good idea. Looking into next year, you're going to start to have people hold off on their purchases waiting for a 5G version of it. And 5G is the first major technological leap that we've had in, well, maybe half a dozen years. So I think that they're right to stop the unit sales and look at themselves as a consumer products company, and they don't need to really report that. You both kind of mentioned maybe you're going to slow your refresh of your iPhones, but you're not going to stop paying for the services. So, we've had a lot of analysts on talking about how maybe services is going to slow down because iPhone sales is going to slow down. I don't really see that as the case.
Well, that's the pesky little problem with all investing is that the price is based not just on the earnings, but on what you assign the thing, and that can be 50% or 150% of where the stock is at any given time. So then the sentiment and the psychology around the overall stock market itself and technology, that affects the multiple. What's a fair multiple for Apple right now? Because their earnings, you can probably come pretty close to what they're going to earn as far as a forecast. What multiple should be on Apple?
Well, I think, if you look at Apple, you look at the businesses that they're in, they're at the forefront of mobile communications, the forefront of media and technology. They're at the forefront of cloud-based services on a retail basis, so maybe a market multiple. I don't think that it deserves an Amazon multiple or a Netflix multiple who are growing at 15, 20% kind of numbers, but it certainly deserves a market multiple, which it has not enjoyed over the past 5 years. So if you look at Apple, you're looking at somebody who trades at, or something that trades at a hardware multiple, trying to get more towards a software and services multiple. And their guidance really wasn't that bad going into the quarter, so I think the stock is probably a bit of an overreaction, and you could probably take it out of FANG. It did not trade with FANG in 2014 and 2015, so I don't see a real reason why we have to lump it together with those.
Let's see, so 185, it's 880 billion. That's a hell of that's still a pretty nice market, less today with it down today, but you take that market cap with global penetration of people using iPhones. I guess that's a simplistic view, but it doesn't seem like not everybody in the world's got an iPhone yet, not even close.
And they've never really wanted to play in the low end of cell phones.
They could double easily.
But that would require literally creating a different type of phone at a different price point.
But they don't seem saturated. The world is not saturated with iPhones, is it?
No, but they'd have to bring down the price point materially,
right?
And the margin. I mean, that's the whole business,
right? And I don't think they've ever wanted to do that, right? They've been the high-end manufacturer. It's not about market share with Apple. It's about share of wallet and of the high-end customer.
I just, anyone in my family, if I said I'm taking your iPhone away, there would be a mass revolt. I mean, it has changed the way we all. I try to cut down. I mean, now that keeps reminding me how much I'm using the stupid thing, and I feel like, I have a problem because I see the daily numbers. So I mean, that's just. I mean, life is totally different.
But that's not a problem for them, by the way.
No.
They're fine if you use it a lot or a little.
It just seems like that there's even if without services, the iPhone, people are going to continue to buy it. I can't imagine we're not using an iPhone in 2 or 3 years.
Right. But they're just not going to buy as
nobody
many.
leaves the platform
every year.
Right. The refreshment. That's what we talked about right at the top.
But we got to go because we want to talk Target. But I just want to ask on a multiple question.
Yeah.
Which is, do you build any positivity or optimism in that there's something else that they will build besides the phone that will actually assign where you'll decide actually the higher multiple makes sense because they're doing something that's exciting that's going to be a new growth opportunity?
Well, I think they're going to be involved in Internet of Things in the home and in the automobile, whether it's a car or the operating system that runs a car. So I think what they're trying to do is make their operating system ubiquitous, which probably does drive multiple. The problem is we only build about 16 million cars a year. So against 77 million iPhones, I'll still stick with the communications business.